Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 400, A Walk in the Local Park. Intermediate. Steve was in his mid-60s, a man whose greying hair and kind eyes gave him an air of wisdom. Each afternoon, Steve and his loyal companion Bobby embarked on their daily walk to the local park. Bobby, a 9.5-year-old chocolate Vizslador, was a blend of Labrador and Hungarian Vizsla, whose coat glistened softly under the afternoon sun. She had a gentle disposition, matching Steve's steady, comfortable pace. The park stretched out like a green oasis in their small British town, offering wide paths, open fields and a dedicated space where dogs could frolic off-leash. These afternoon walks were a cherished routine for Steve and Bobby, offering a blend of exercise, companionship and the simple pleasure of being outdoors. Today, as Steve and Bobby entered the park, the late afternoon light cast long golden shadows across the fields. A cool breeze gently rustled the leaves overhead, the sounds of birds mingling with the laughter of children playing nearby. Bobby, though past her youthful years, was quick to respond to the sights and sounds around her. As they walked along the winding path, she enthusiastically wagged her tail at the sight of Daisy, an energetic Jack Russell Terrier belonging to Mrs. Finley, a vibrant lady with a lively smile that mirrored her dog's spirit. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Finley," Steve called out warmly. "Hello, Steve, and how's our charming Bobby today?" Mrs. Finley replied, her eyes twinkling as Daisy bounced forward to greet Bobby with her eager wag. Steve chuckled as the two dogs engaged in their usual greeting ritual. "Bobby's been looking forward to seeing her friends," Steve said, watching the fondness as the dogs began a playful chase across the grass. "These two never seem to get tired, do they?" Mrs. Finley observed, adjusting her sun hat against the warm sun. "No, they keep us on our toes," Steve replied with a smile, reflecting on the years of similar walks and conversations shared in the park. Continuing their stroll, Steve and Mrs. Finley were soon joined by Richard, a young man who was taking a rest on a nearby bench. His boxer, Max, was untamed energy in motion, darting around Richard before joining Daisy and Bobby in their play. "Afternoon, Steve," Richard called, tipping his head back slightly as Max leaped with the exuberance typical of his breed. "Hello, Richard. Keeping up with Max, I see," Steve joked, glancing at the still active boxer. "He's more workout than I ever signed up for," Richard laughed, watching as Max led the trio of dogs in a merry dash across the open field. A middle-aged woman and her serene border collie, Toby, soon approached. Laura, Toby's owner, waved cheerfully. "Afternoon all. Nice day for it, isn't it?" "Toby certainly thinks so," Steve responded, nodding at the calm, collected collie who politely observed the frolic of the other dogs. "He's always dignified," Laura remarked with a proud smile, "not quite getting involved in all the excitement today, it seems." Their group stood together for some time, sharing friendly conversation and observing the dogs' antics. The scenery, the comfortable companionship of old friends, and the boundless energy of their pets made these interactions a highlight of Steve's day. As shadows began to stretch longer and the warmth of the sun started to fade, Steve knew it was nearly time to head home. He called Bobby, who responded by leaving his companions to return to Steve's side, gently panting, but clearly happy. "It's always a pleasure," Steve said as he gathered Bobby's leash, preparing for the walk back. "Until tomorrow then," Mrs. Finley said with a wave, echoed by nods and farewells from Richard and Laura. Steve and Bobby made their way down the tree-lined path that led out of the park, the tranquility of the afternoon walk following them homeward. Bobby trotted contentedly beside him, tail wagging lazily as they moved in harmony. As they departed, Steve couldn't help but feel grateful for these daily moments. The rhythmic peace of the park, its familiar faces, and the predictable joy of seeing Bobby play were small yet profound pleasures in his life. With the afternoon sun dipping towards the horizon, Steve felt the warmth of deep contentment, not just from the walk, but from the simple, enduring company of his faithful dog and the welcoming community they belonged to. Vocabulary notes. Companion, meaning a person or animal that someone spends a lot of time with or travels with. Example, Steve and his loyal companion Bobby. Similar words, partner, friend, sidekick. Frolic, meaning to play and move about cheerfully, energetically, or excitedly. Example, Max led the trio of dogs in a merry dash across the open field. Note, while frolic isn't directly used, this phrase captures the spirit of what it means to frolic. Similar words, romp, play, cavort. Enthusiastically, meaning in a way that shows intense and eager enjoyment or interest. Example, Bobby enthusiastically wagged her tail at the sight of Daisy. Similar words, eagerly, excitedly, passionately. Exuberance, meaning the quality of being full of energy, excitement, and cheerfulness. Example, his boxer, Max, was untamed energy in motion. This describes Max's exuberance. Similar words, liveliness, vitality, zest. Embrace, meaning to accept or welcome something enthusiastically. Example, Steve couldn't help but feel grateful for these daily moments. This can be interpreted as Steve embracing the moments. Similar words, accept, welcome, adopt. Resigned, meaning having accepted something unpleasant that one cannot do anything about. Example, Richard laughed, watching as Max led the trio of dogs. Richard's laughter indicates a resigned acceptance of Max's energy levels. Similar words, passive, reconciled, acquiescent. Tranquility, meaning the state of being calm and peaceful. Example, the rhythmic peace of the park, its familiar faces. This indicates tranquility. Similar words, peacefulness, serenity, calmness. Contentment, meaning a state of happiness and satisfaction. Example, Steve felt the warmth of deep contentment. Similar words, satisfaction, ease, fulfillment. Story written by SteveUK and ChatGPT 4.0 AI. Image created by DALLE 3. Or maybe it's a video, I've not decided yet. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.